We told you about Bam Adebayo's 83-point night. In the meantime, the two best stories in the NBA, Jason Tatum's return and Victor Wembanyama's emergence, collided on one floor in San Antonio. Jason Tatum looked awfully good.
Yeah, early on, got off to a great start, 12 points in the first quarter, just starting to get more and more into rhythm, especially from downtown.
He would score 24 in the game, but then here's the moment we're over. He's yelling, he's screaming, he's pointing, and eventually he's going to get a technical. Now, I want you to watch what happens closely, because after he gets the technical, he does not calm down. The official from the other side of the floor.
Everyone was going to let him go, but Meta said that's way too much when you start walking up to an official. He gets shoved a little bit here. That was not egregious, but there was frustration that boiled over, went into the locker room, went right to Twitter, by the way.
We'll show you that in a little, but in the meantime, let's show you the second half, because Victor Wembanyama showed you everything. He showed you in the second half all of the reasons why he has become the biggest story in sports today.
He is the thing to watch, other than, of course, Bam last night, but 8 3-pointers, that ties a career high for him. The Celtics were going to let him play on the perimeter, and he said, have you not watched me play? This is something that he's now developing. He is a big man who has guard skills. He's a guard in a big man's body, but he can also, of course, take you into the paint. Finish like that.
39 points, 11 rebounds. Alan mentioned the 8 threes, a career high. More Wembanyama. Unstoppable, and the Spurs go on to win it, 125-116. Let's say it as directly as we can. Over the last few weeks, Victor Wembanyama has been as good as any player we have ever seen. In his last 4 games, he's averaging over 33 points and 11 rebounds a game. Not to mention, again, the 8 threes last night. When he's making those, he's unstoppable. Chiney Ogumbuke and Allen with me here this morning. I mean, Chiney, I've been watching the game 50 years, and I am perfectly comfortable saying there has never been a player like Victor Wembanyama. There is only one question in my mind about him, and that is, does he stay healthy for the long run? Right. The incredibly tall players historically have had all kinds of trouble staying healthy. In his case, however, he seems to be built differently and more athletic than almost any other I can ever think of. Short of that, he has talent, skills, and a mentality, from what I can see, that suggests he is already as good as any player that we have seen.
Let me start, Greeny, with the mentality. At NBA All-Star, I played Victor Wembanyama in NBA 2K, and I've been friendly with him. I did a commercial with him last year, and the first thing he said to me before hi and hello was, I'm going to bust your ass. I'm going to get to it. That's how competitive Victor Wembanyama is. Mind you, I did win the first game, but he definitely came back with a vengeance on the second game, so we need a tiebreaker. But that performance last night versus the Boston Celtics will live rent-free in my head, just because it feels like this has been an inflection point for the San Antonio Spurs. Him matching his career high, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Everyone says don't settle for the long-range shot when it comes to threes. He didn't settle here. That's what taking what the defense is giving you. That's what it looks like in real time from someone who is not designed to be great from the perimeter, but has this unlocked cheat code ability to be phenomenal. And I'll just say this. We all know the numbers. We know his impact. That's real. The impact on the Spurs, they are number 4 in offensive rating, number 3 in defensive rating. They want to win and win now. Last night's performance turned me into a believer. They are the real deal. They're not just ascending. They are a real talented team that can do damage this postseason.
Thank you, Chiney. Thank you. Thank you that somebody is finally going to speak it into existence, because we keep fighting this notion that the Spurs can't be a contender because they don't have any past history. Even that young Warriors team had to lose a couple of rounds the previous 2 years before they went on to win a championship. Steph Curry's first title back then, right? This team doesn't have any playoff experience whatsoever when it comes to their core, a very young core. A couple of players, Fox, Barnes, they do have some, but for a core they don't. But I'll tell you what, the number that stands out to me, Greeny, we've talked about the 40-20, right? 40 before 20 club.
Yes.
All right, they're 8-1 against those teams. Detroit, Boston, and of course OKC. 8-1. Tell me they can't do it this year.
They're only 2.5 games behind OKC in the West. They have handled their business against OKC all season long. They could wind up the 1 seed in the West, and Victor Wembanyama absolutely belongs in the MVP conversation, if not at the top of it. As far as his individual greatness, there have been players throughout the history of the game who've come along who've just been something different. These are not necessarily the greatest players of all time, but guys who were just different. Wilt Chamberlain was just different. Shaq was just different in his own way. Steph Curry is just different. Victor Wembanyama is just different. There's never been anything like him. If it continues, he's going to be someone that they talk about for decades to come. The other side of this, you mentioned it, moments after Jaylen Brown was ejected from the game, he went on social media from the locker room. He posted the video of himself getting pushed out of bounds and tweeted, "This is the ish I be talking about." Joe Mazzulla was asked about it after the game.
The play that Jaylen was frustrated with. He also thought he was pushed out of bounds.
Just give a ton of credit to my high school principal. He had the balls to throw a student out. He didn't leave it to the hall monitor.
What kind of frustrated you about just that entire sequence?
He was a hell of a principal.
So making sure we're understanding, he's suggesting that the official that Jaylen Brown was dealing with is the one.
Not approach a referee twice. They'll let you go at them, and then you walk away. You can't double back, and that makes it a very human experience that they have to recognize the optics of what it looks like. But still, this is a humongous game with implications even bigger than which team is better, East versus West. This is a game where people were saying that potentially it could help decide Jaylen Brown's MVP case. Wow. And so in these moments, I kind of wish that first tech, there was a little bit more time to breathe, to see if he could calm down and collect himself before doubling back. I wish the first tech was not assessed, because when you look at the foul, he was shoved. It was also a little bit maybe of a flop. I understand why he was mad, and I also understand why his emotions were on 10, because this was a huge game for his season and the awards.
Just one thing to say there, Sinead, is that as a star player and an MVP candidate, control yourself. For your team, control yourself.
Yeah. After the first technical, look, there's nothing in the world you want less than to have a star player thrown out of a game of that magnitude in the first half or at any point. I sort of understand both sides. I understand how the officials decided enough was enough. I think they needed to be in a position where that was their last ditch option. Maybe in this case it was. One way or another, it happens, and Wembanyama was the star. We got games tonight, a double